Hi, thank you so much for joining my podcast series, Formidable Females in Future Flight. I'm meeting with women from across the future of aviation and aerospace to help inspire more women to consider this sector for their own careers. I'm delighted to be joined today by Ariane St. Pierre, Hybrid Project Lead at Ascendance Flight Technologies. Ariane, thank you so much for joining me. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. I'm very happy to
Brilliant.
be here.
Oh, great. Well, thank you for joining us. And just in case anybody in our audience is not that familiar with Ascendant Flight Technologies, could you tell me a little bit about the business? What do you do here?
Yes, of course. Ascendance Flight Technologies is a French deep tech startup company. It has been founded 5 years ago to provide solution for greener aviation. So we believe that hybridization will be the key to decarbonize air travel. And so we have worked from the beginning on hybridization technologies. Now we have two products, ATIA, which is a very beautiful vertical takeoff and landing airplane, and Cerna, or modular hybrid propulsion technology. Of course, Cerna is used for our IT aircraft, but also we provide our technology for other aircraft manufacturers that would like to hybridize their aircraft.
Brilliant. Okay. So in such a new business and indeed a whole new industry, I guess you must have started your career somewhere else. Could you tell me a little bit about your career path and what brought you to this role today?
Yes. At the beginning, well, I'm an engineer. I first worked in a very small consulting company for a few years, a strategic consulting company. Then I joined a large aeronautical group. I stayed there for 12 years in various entities and positions. That's very interesting. And about 1 year ago, I joined Ascendance Flight Technologies as a hybrid project lead in charge of our hybrid propulsion system.
Brilliant. So, what was it that inspired you to step away from the kind of safety of a big established
Uh,
business and join this startup? What led you to make that decision?
I was very inspired by Ascendance Flight Technology project, by the technology, of course, because it's a very exciting and new technology, but also by a great team and by the company values, real care for environment, simplicity, honesty, and very innovative and open mindset. So my belief is that today a lot is happening in startup companies right now in the aerospace industry. A lot of new technology, disruptive technology, but also new way of working, new way of doing innovation and business. And I think I wanted to be part of it. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, I'm sure that they're equally excited about you, and it sounds like true inspiration, a true innovation. Um, I wondered, the aerospace sector as a whole does tend to be more males rather than females. Um, I wondered whether you found that too, and whether you can think of any reasons why women might perhaps be a little more reluctant than men to join startups.
Yes. I think, as a generally speaking, women tends to be a little bit more risk adverse than men, and I think it's because they are often told that it's maybe better for them to be in a secure or traditional environment. I've been told a lot that it was maybe a bit risky to go to a startup, especially when you have children and everything. But I think it's a pity though, because I think in this kind of very new and innovative environments, you can also maybe it's easier to find an open mind for and find your place as a woman, as it tends to be more open and less conservative than other places.
Yeah, okay, lovely. So it's actually not as simple as men and women. It sounds as though it's more of a mindset thing. And do you
Um,
find that there's diversity in other ways compared with more traditional businesses?
Yes, there is, of course, men and women differences even in startups and even in our startups. I think we are trying to get, and we are not too far of 25% of women, but we are not there yet, even if there is a way to go there. And I think a lot of people want to go to in the industry to toward more diversity. But even if there is more men than women in where we are, it's more like the mindset, I think, is more open. I think generally speaking, it's more open to diversity, as you said, not only men, women, but also having, people from other nationalities, people with various backgrounds, with various life experience. And I think that's very valuable for us in Ascendance to have such a diversity, it's just an open mind toward diversity,
Yeah, that's
even
so
if
interesting.
sometimes it's not so easy to find
Yeah.
women. So
Yeah, no, true. I've certainly found that when I've been hiring for roles, which is the whole reason that I started this
yeah.
podcast series, because you need to work with the reality of today while inspiring a future that's different. But it's so interesting what you say about the mindset. It sounds as though, even though the statistics in your business reflect to an extent the industry itself, it somehow feels diverse because of just an ingrained diversity of thought, that real open mindsets that you talk about. I wondered if there's any specific reasons why that is, and why the industry feels different in startup businesses compared with traditional.
Yes, I think traditional is evolving as well. I think
Mm,
nowadays almost all the companies try to be more proactive on this. But I think it's quite it's more vital for a startup company because I think it's my belief is that for a startup company it's really critical to have a real diversity of thought and profile, not to be to have very different profile because it's a way of building its own culture, um, and also to have all the assets to react to very different and challenging situations. As we have every day we have to be very agile, very finding new, be very creative. So I think it's maybe more important for startup even to do that. And maybe also, I believe that in startups we develop great technologies, but we also develop a new way of working together, new way of making things. And so I think in these small and new companies, it's maybe easier to change the things a little bit faster than in traditional or very big or very old companies, which tend to be very more conservative.
yeah,
I think maybe that's why it's the feeling of the mindset is quite different, even if
yeah.
the figures are not so are not perfect either for sure.
Yes, yeah. I understand. Um, it, and I'm sure, like you say, that the more traditional businesses are also evolving, but in a business where everybody is quite new because the business itself is quite new. There's no chance for anyone to get stuck in any particular habits because everyone has had to find a new way of working with each other all at the same time. And I wondered how you find being a female engineer, or being a female in an engineering role. Do you feel that there are any benefits to this?
Yes, absolutely. I think a lot of qualities that are supposedly, let's say, traditionally considered as feminine, because it's not
Mm,
only female having these qualities, but such as soft skills like communication, empathy, supposed to be more feminine qualities, are really useful even in engineering environments. And I think um, really that could be a really great asset to work in this type of environment. And anyway, you don't have I discovered that you don't have to fit with any engineering stereotypes. You don't have to be a geek to be a good engineer. You don't have to be a man. So you just have to find your own way of, uh, doing your job well.
yes, definitely. And what inspired you to consider this career? originally?
So I always love science. I grew up in a family full of scientists. So I love science and technology. So it was quite natural for me to become an engineer. And then later I met very great people. I had the chance to get on very interesting project, and that led me to discover aeronautical world. I didn't know very much, and I loved it. So it was a really a mix of interest and chance. So, and I'm very happy of where I am today. So.
Brilliant. So, did you actually study aerospace engineering? Was that a deliberate decision, or did the aerospace piece come a little bit later?
No, a little bit later. Actually, I was more interested in environment, but I didn't really find the way to make it work with my professional life. So I studied some stuff on environment, but for the beginning, I didn't uh, know exactly how to do that. But then I worked on various technology, fuel cell, not for aeronautics, for other application. And then as I say, it's like just meeting, the people and being in the projects that are really were really inspiring. So I met these people, I met these projects, I discovered like the airplane world, and it was great. So yeah, it's really a combination of something. I always loved technology, but I didn't really know this world, and it's also great to discover new stuff. And I'm sure I
Yes,
will discover other stuff later as well. So I think
yes,
it's great. There is so many different things to see as an engineer and to discover. It's great.
yes, yeah. Well, it sounds as though this role, by following your dreams, it sounds as though they've led you here, because actually in this business you're able to um, combine being a great engineer with actually environmental issues as well, because obviously that's the whole purpose of the business. Um,
Mm.
I wondered if there's any advice that you would give to other women and girls who enjoy STEM subjects, um, like you do, but might be worried about not fitting in.
Yes, I think not to overthink too much. I think that if you really like what you're doing, if you like science, you like technologies, just try and follow the opportunities you have. I think there are many opportunities right now for young women in the industry, very exciting things to do. And then trust yourself and you will find your own path. I think. I think maybe women just have to be more confident, and there is a lot of good things waiting for them there.
Brilliant. Well, that is such good
Mm,
advice, and I think it's so important that that women and girls can see themselves represented and see role models like
mm.
you. So, thank you so much for taking part in the podcast series. I really do appreciate it, and that is such good advice for other women and girls. It sounds like a really interesting role that you have in a brilliant business, and thank you so much for taking the time to join me. And is there anything at all that I've not asked that you would like to add?
Yes, so maybe just consider joining us. As there is such a diverse team, you don't have to fit in. Just so, please just have a look on our website, see how beautiful our airplane is, check our open position, and see if there's something for you there. So I think we are at the beginning of the decarbonizing air travel. So that's a very exciting period. So, feel free to join the adventure.
Brilliant. Well, that sounds like a lovely invitation, and thank you again. I really do appreciate you taking the time. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for the conversation.